Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for AICEP Portugal Global to participate in the Global Investment Convention Brexit edition. AICEP Portugal Global is the Portuguese government agency responsible for promoting foreign direct investment to Portugal, and that is what I will be talking about today. One of the main issues for people to invest in Portugal is its strategic location. We consider ourselves in a privileged area where you have access to the European Union market, over 500 million consumers, and you also have a privileged bridge to the Portuguese-speaking world with over 250 million people. This includes Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, Timor-Leste, and São Tomé e Príncipe. We see that many companies utilize Portugal as a platform to do business in these other countries. Our location allows companies to work with Asia in the morning and with North and South America in the afternoon and in the evening. We're in the same time zone as the United Kingdom. Risk perception tends to be more and more an important asset, and companies, when investing, they look at risk perception very closely, depending a lot on the origins of the countries. And Portugal strikes out as one of the best countries to invest in for safety. According to the Global Peace Index, Portugal ranks fourth after three other countries. So we're usually in the first, second, third, and fourth in terms of global peace index. Political and social stability, we rank very highly as well. Operational risk, we're at a very low risk. And in terms of infrastructure, which of course is something that, depending on your industry, that companies look at, and we are very happy to say that we are in the top notch. It is impossible to talk about investment nowadays without talking about sustainability. And we are happy that it is so, and Portugal can clearly state that we are a leading head in what concerns a green location. You can see by the numbers here, Planet and Climate Index ranking number 9. This is something that we, of course, are proud of. We are a top location for green investment. Our incentives work very closely with sustainability and with a green environment. Economically speaking, Portugal is a stable country with, of course, the last few years haven't been as positive for Portugal as haven't been for other countries around the world due to the pandemic reasons. But in this specific slide, I would stress out an unemployment rate of 6.6%, which is a good number. And also for those investing, sometimes the recent graduates, the percentage ranks in the 15%. So Portugal is a place where you see here the youth unemployment rate, 21.8%, which this clearly shows the availability of talent. And that is, as we all know, one of the main reasons for investment nowadays. And Portugal, as to what concerns availability of talent, we have high-ranking universities, and we have an adequate unemployment rate where you see that the young recent graduates are eager to start working in environmentally friendly companies. Our top exports, as many of you may understand, Spain, for natural reasons, our border country, then followed by France, Germany, and the UK ranks in number 4th. What may come as a surprise to many of you is the items and the goods that we export. Usually, as you may see, most of them are goods of value added to our economy. Openness for investment. According to EY, we rank in the top 10 destinations for FDI, for foreign direct investment in Europe. OECD ranks us as the second most open country for indirect investment. And according to Forbes, the best country for business, we rank number 25 in a world sample. So openness for business, the easiness of doing business is one of the things that we can hear from investors that have invested in Portugal as one of the top reasons, and how successful it is for them to open an investment, and the openness and how to find and to get new partners. The recent track record is quite diversified. It goes from the industrial sector to the services, German companies to American to French, Asian companies, different nationalities, different sectors. Startups are active, industrial operations in the automotive cluster, which is a strong cluster, aeronautical cluster, plastic molds, food stuffs, transformation. So it quite depends. Wind and alternative energy, it really quite depends, and all investments are welcome into Portugal. But one thing is clear, we want companies to invest in Portugal for the right reasons, and that is where AICEP stands. We will pass the information, the information that you may need, the correct information so that you can make the right choice when you're investing. We have here some other examples of recent investment and reinvestment. And as you may know, when a company invests and all goes well, they tend to reinvest. And that is one of our areas of great success. We accompany very closely companies that have invested in the past, and we see a track record, and an incredible track record of reinvestment. Operations go smoothly and go well in Portugal, and companies tend to reinvest. And we can see that in terms of mergers and acquisitions, it's also becoming, although relatively small when compared to the bigger countries, it is a dynamic and very interesting sector to look at, mergers and acquisitions I'm talking about. Some of the competitive advantages, one of them, which I've referred before, is the availability of talent. Here you can see how we rank in language skills, management education, university education, graduates in science, and the skilled labor force. Our rankings would, I assume, clearly put us, we should clearly be put on a short list of a company when they're considering expanding their activities. In terms of our key assets, engineering and IT, students, recent graduates from engineering and IT, from math and science, from finance, business, and administrative law represent a considerable amount of graduates. And these tend to be areas that startups and many other companies are looking at. As we all know, IT is an area where there is lacking a workforce in many countries, and in Portugal, it is not so. You can still find available talent, especially those coming out of very competitive universities, high-ranking universities worldwide. We consider ourselves an innovative country. Here are some of the rankings that you can have a look at. We will be happy to provide you with, throughout any of these slides that I'm mentioning and the information here, we will be happy to provide you with further information. But to rank 31st in innovation overall ranking is quite considerable. Human capital and research number 26, and scientific and technical articles number 6. With 5 unicorns and perhaps a few others coming up, we are clearly an innovative country. Infrastructures can be particularly important depending on the sector, especially if it's goods that we're talking about. And we are happy to say that we're close to the center of Europe. The Iberia Peninsula is by itself a very strong and important economic center for companies. Our Sines, a deep water port, and the access we have to South America is particularly interesting and important. A direct route to the Americas as well, North America, and of course, Africa, where we have close relationships. International airports availability with flights everywhere, and a strong and increasing railway network, which will link and closely links us to the rest of Europe. As to what concerns telecommunications, more important for broadband and connectivity companies, service companies, and here this is, of course, one of the areas that has clearly helped Portugal position itself as a competitive country, and why many services companies are investing in Portugal, from smaller companies, from startups to the bigger companies as well. Broadband, for some of them, for some of you, may come as a surprise, but yes, we use broadband. Our during the COVID, we didn't have as many disruptions as many other countries did. The digital index puts us on number 8, an ultra fast fixed broadband as number 2, and communications technology number 5. These clearly are data that are important for services companies. And again, we will be happy to provide you with further information. Depending on the area you may be in Portugal, you will be surprised how well our broadband connectivity works. Quality of life, perhaps here, ideally, I would invite any of you to come to Portugal, to visit Portugal. We're considered the world's healthiest place to live, ranking number 2. World's best quality of life for expatriates number 3, and the peace index of number 4. If you take into consideration the wonderful weather conditions and all the activities, the international schools available for students, the international and high quality universities, I would assume that I'm happy to say that Portugal is clearly a wonderful place to do business, and it's also a wonderful place to live. And I should add that an expat tax, highly competitive expat tax regime of a 20% flat rate for income tax for a period of 10 years is also an added bonus. As to what concerns the investment support, we have attractive investment incentives and investments. We work closely with companies, and we try to ensure that we may give each company that is investing in Portugal the maximum threshold possible under the framework of the European law. So a company that invests in Portugal through AICEP, where he will have a key account manager, we can do simulations so that the investor can clearly see if they invest in these specific areas, if they invest with these machineries, this is the amount of investment that they may have. And we're happy to have an impeccable track record of incentives, EU incentives that we have attributed to companies, foreign companies that have invested in Portugal, but also Portuguese companies that are investing and reinvesting. AICEP is, we consider ourselves a one-stop shop agency. We work with companies, Portuguese companies or companies established in Portugal that are in an internationalization process. We help them expand their activities, and we work with investments from the very beginning. We may actually commercially knock at the door of an investor and suggest that Portugal be included in their shortlist when they wish to expand their activities. We provide all the information a company may need in order for them to make the right decision to invest. Once the company has invested in Portugal, we ensure that it's a smooth process. Red tape issues can be spoken and can be dealt with. AICEP can deal with them, and to ensure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. And as referred previously, our main interest, or one of our main interests, is that you are well established in Portugal, so that then again you can consider reinvesting and further opening your activities in Portugal. The right choice, the right time, that is clearly how we look at Portugal. This is the right time to look at Portugal as an investment destination. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you need further information, more detailed information, and tailor-made information. We're at your disposal. Thank you very much for your time and your patience to go through with me through this presentation.